Well, friends, Merry Christmas to you all on this 25th of December 2020. And I hope and I pray that today is a blessed day to you, that it's an encouraging day to you, and that it's a day where you would know the Lord's presence and his nearness, whoever you're with and whatever you may be doing. I just want to think for a few moments with you at the glorious doctrine of the incarnation, God becoming flesh, as we find it in John chapter 1 and verse 14. We read these words: "The Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we have seen his glory, glory as of the only Son from the Father, full of grace and truth." In these verses, John begins by telling us that the Word became flesh, and he starts by speaking about the Word. It draws our attention all the way back to the very beginning of this chapter, where he writes, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." The Word is God's self-revelation. It is his final self-disclosure. And John speaks here about the Word, and he says that the Word became flesh. The word flesh refers to human nature with all its frailties, all its weaknesses. And here is John, and he's saying the Word, God's final self-disclosure, became flesh, became human nature. Now, John isn't for one moment saying that God turned into a man. Neither is he saying that God somehow emptied himself of the attributes and the prerogatives of being God. Not at all. John is saying that the Word, God, became flesh, while at the same time never ceasing to be the Word, never ceased to be God. He's saying here that this man, Jesus, whom he is going to write about in this gospel, was fully God, while at the same time fully man, wholly human, and yet wholly divine. He is, and he was, the God-man. And John goes further and says that the Word dwelt among us, or more literally, he tabernacled among us. It draws our attention back to the Exodus story, where we read about how God dwelt with his people, presenced himself among his people in a tabernacle, in a tent in the wilderness. And here John speaking about the Word, God in the flesh, coming very close to his people, being present with his people, sharing in the experiences of his people in a very personal, a very intimate way. And John goes even further and says, "And we have seen his glory, glory as of the only Son from the Father." John speaks now about seeing the glory of this Word. The word glory refers to the goodness of God on display, the panorama of God's perfections made visible for the eye to see. And he says, we beheld, we saw, we surveyed his glory, and it was no ordinary glory. It was glory as of the only Son of the Father, glory as of the only begotten Son. This is the Son who is in a unique and privileged position, a prominent and a preeminent position. John says, we saw, we beheld his glory as he dwelt among us. And John closes by qualifying what this glory is, as he says that this glory was full of grace and truth. Again, this has echoes that we find in the book of Exodus. In Exodus 33 and 34, we find Moses, and he's crying out to the Lord. He's praying to the Lord, "Show me your glory." And the Lord tells Moses that he will cause all of his goodness to pass before Moses. Moses will see his goodness on display. And then the Lord does pass by Moses and declares his name, his character to him. And he tells Moses that he is the one who is abounding in goodness, abounding in mercy, abounding in covenant love, abounding in grace. But he isn't simply abounding in these things. He is also abounding in truth. He is abounding in faithfulness. That is God's goodness on display as he reveals his name, his character to Moses, and says that he is the gracious one and he is the faithful one. And here is John, and he's picking up on that idea, and he's relating it to this man called Jesus, the Word who became flesh and made his dwelling among his people. And he says, in Jesus, in the face of Jesus, we have seen the grace and faithfulness of God on full display, the glory of God in all its magnificence, in all its wonder. Friends, on this Christmas day, I hope that each and every one of us would be able to take some time to be still and to reflect on the wonder, the marvel of this incarnation, God becoming flesh. The wonder of the second person of the Trinity stepping from heaven into this world and embracing the frailties of this world. But we might also think not only of the fact that he came into this world, not only of the fact that he came and lay in a manger, not only of the fact that his first visitors were shepherds, and not only the fact that he had nowhere to lay his head later in life, but also the wonder that in that physical body that he took, he still retains that physical body, that even today he dwells in heaven. He is at the right hand of the Father. And while at that right hand of the Father, there his physical body is still found. And that physical body is still scarred with the marks of the cross as a lasting testimony of his love for his people, the fact that he will never fail or forsake his people, of the fact that he is gracious and faithful for his people. I don't know what you're going through today, but I hope and pray that whatever you may be going through, whatever you might be facing, however joyful or however painful this Christmas might be, that you would know the wonder of the Saviour and his all-satisfying love for his people. God bless each and every one of you.